Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Stephen Brown, and in today's video, guys, I want to talk a little bit about the Toronto Maple Leafs giving a professional tryout contract to Nikita Gusev. And I know, a professional tryout for a guy who's 5'9" and 163 pounds and couldn't crack the Florida Panthers playoff lineup. Is there really anything to get excited about here? Well, I mean, he is 1 year removed from having 44 points in 66 games with the New Jersey Devils. Now, again, that smaller stature is not something that's going to go away from 1 year to the next, and this player has always been known to have defensive deficiencies? Is that the nice way to say it? Obviously, New Jersey saw enough in this player to offer him a $4.5 million a season contract for 2 years at the beginning of the 1920 season. And that first year, like we already said, 44 points in 66 games, it really worked out for Gusev and the Devils, and he looked like he was going to be part of the solution long term there. Like I've already pointed out, he is a smaller forward, but he does carry the puck well. He is a good playmaker. He doesn't score all too much. And going into the second year of that deal that saw him making $4.5 million a season, in the first 20 games with the Devils, he put up 5 points. And the two parties decided to mutually terminate the contract. And then after the deal was mutually terminated, he went and signed with the Florida Panthers for the remainder of the season, and actually put up some decent underlying advanced metrics. Although you may want to put an asterisk next to that because he did spend the majority of his time with the Florida Panthers playing next to Alexander Barkov, and that can surely make a difference. But if you want to take a look at it with and without chart, Alexander Barkov playing with Nikita Gusev was actually better than what he was without him. I don't know how much credit I really want to give Gusev for that because, again, Barkov is a hell of a player, but he definitely wasn't holding him back in the minutes that he spent with him. And it's weird. In the 11 games that he got into with the Florida Panthers, a large percentage of that ice time was spent playing against the other team's best players. And in that ice time, they controlled the majority of the shot attempt share and the better of the quality and quantity of scoring chances. And if you're looking at some more stats from his 1920 season, it's not like the Devils spoon-fed him matchups in ice time that year either. And yeah, he wasn't good defensively that year either, and I'm not suggesting that in softer minutes that he would be good defensively. No, I don't think this player is ever going to be good defensively, but, you know, maybe he doesn't have to play against the other team's best players. Although I am a big believer that quality of teammate is just as important as quality of competition, because you saw what he was able to accomplish playing with Barkov. But if you're looking at his most common line mates from that 1920 season, yeah, guys like Blake Coleman, Travis Zajac, Pavel Zacha, and Jesper Bratt are good players. But they're not Alexander Barkov good, and he was still able to produce good results with them. PTO is a stat that tries to quantify luck by adding a player's shooting percentage to what the goalie's save percentage is when he's on the ice. Anything under 100 is considered unlucky, and anything over 100 is considered lucky. But my problem with that is that it ignores that there are good goalies and bad goalies, and good shooters and bad shooters. And I don't think that Nikita Gusev is particularly a talented shooter. If I haven't already said it, I don't want to hype Nikita Gusev up to be something that he's not. It's just a professional tryout. But this is a player who does have some talent, right? He did put up 44 points in 66 games just a year ago, and he had over a dozen goals, and he was able to play well with a talented player like Alexander Barkov. That's all not for nothing. You can call it dumpster diving if you want, but good players are good players. And if you can assemble a long enough list of talented players who are undervalued by the rest of the league for whatever reason, you got to think at least one or two of them will pan out. Because if you can find these players now instead of spending draft picks on them at the trade deadline, I'd rather them do it now and keep the picks. It's not like they got any next year anyway. But if you look at the last two drafts, they've selected 15 players, and they have 3 more picks this upcoming draft. That would be 18 selections over a 3-year span, and you only get 7 a year anyway. So that would be 3 less than what they would have if they didn't trade any picks at all. So I think people are blowing that out of proportion just a little bit. And if you missed my video from the other day, I will leave it linked above the screen and at the end of the video. But we looked at a Jonas Siegel article that talked about which players look to be locks for the Toronto Maple Leafs, even as early on as right now for opening night. So if anything, at the very least, Nikita Gusev becomes another name that you can throw in the hat to audition for that last spot on the roster there, which creates competition. You know, they brought in an unmotivated, or at least it seemed like, Alex Galchenyuk in the middle of last year, and they gave him something to fight for. They're giving this guy something to fight for before he more than likely goes back to the KHL. And he's going to be competing with guys like Ondrej Kase, who's been skating for the last 3 months almost and is cleared from all of his concussions in the past. That's the latest from James Myrtle as of the middle of August. Anyway, Pierre Engvall, Adam Brooks, Curtis Gabriel, I guess, Nick Robertson, Kirill Semyonov. You throw enough names into the hat, like I said, you're bound to find at least one of them to work at the bare minimum, or at least that you would hope so anyway. And I just think it would be really cool if Nikita Gusev can have a good training camp, sign with the team, and then play well for them this year. Because then I can come back to this footage of me talking with past me from July the 29th of 2021, saying that Gusev was a good free agent option then, and then I can have future me, so there'd be 3 me's on the screen, and the future me would be saying, I told you so. Because I don't get to be right very often here on this channel, because it's not necessarily about being right here. It's just about assembling enough context and background information to say that this should be right. But even when you do that, they end up losing a lot in deciding games, whether it be in 5 or 7 anyway, even when the background information and the context says that they shouldn't. I'm sure however long the video is at this point, I'm sure a lot of people are going to look at how long it is before they click on it and think to themselves, that is excessively, unnecessarily long for a player who is just signed to a professional tryout. So, on that note, make sure to like the video if you did like it and subscribe for more, because more is always on the way. Their first preseason game is next week. One more quick thing before I get out of here. If you care at all about the hockey jersey content that I post here on the channel, I'm going to have a doozy of a video for you next week, because I am getting a large portion of my jersey collection back in the mail from being customized. It's going to be the first time in the 2 years that I've been collecting that I would have my entire collection under one roof at the same time, and with all the names and the numbers and the patches stitched on there. So I'm going to be doing a massive mail day of about 8 or 9 jerseys or so. I'm really excited for that. And I know not too many people watch those videos when I do talk about the hockey jerseys, but it's something that I'm interested in. And if you're not, I can understand that. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here for real this time. Hopefully you all are doing well. Let me know down in the comment section how you guys are all doing, because I do like talking to you guys about other things other than hockey sometimes, because it can be a little bit exhausting at times, especially when it comes to the Leafs. Anyway, take care. I'll talk to you in the next one.